When we're talking about a child's preference and giving the child the power to choose whether she lives with mom or whether she lives with dad, I think there's a lot of variables to consider. Not only do different states have different rules, and some states have specific rules about at what age a child is capable of making such a decision. In Virginia, where I practice, there's no official age, but we can kind of look at the child, look at their age, maturity, understanding, and intelligence, and gauge whether their preference, if they have one, is one that makes sense in the particular case that we're handling. But I think it's still challenging. It's still not necessarily something that you want to allow into the case for a number of reasons. I think if you have to consider, if you take the child's preference into account and the child gets what she wants and she lives with either mom or dad, whatever her preference is, then she has this sense of power, right? Like the court listened to her before, it'll listen to her again. And if she doesn't get what she wants, or if things get a little tough, then she has this sense that if she goes back to court and she argues for a different change, that she'll get it. Not only that, she can use that power to weaponize it against two co-parents who are already healing from a really challenging situation of their own and might be likely to fall kind of into this trap. On the other hand, if you don't listen to her preference, then she's so disenfranchised. She feels like, her opinion doesn't matter and there's no weight to it at all. And that's damaging too. Now, I'm not saying that in every case you should not listen to kids, but I think we should really consider that these are minor children here that we're dealing with. And maybe we're setting them up for success by asking their preference, but maybe we're not. Maybe we're not even setting ourselves up for success. At the end of the day, it's the grown-ups who have to make decisions about where the children will reside and on what kind of schedule. And that's not necessarily something that a child, even an older teenager, is capable of deciding. We have to remember too, their frontal lobe is not completely developed. Their brains aren't fully functional. And while they might, look like adults and talk like adults and sometimes even act like adults, they're not adults. We're the adults, and we have to make the decisions about what's best for our kids, even when that's hard, even when litigation is involved, even when there's a guardian ad litem and a custody evaluator. It might seem easy to tap the child in to express her preference, but I don't know that that's always the case. So just some food for thought.